Greetings and welcome to another edition of Lessons with Odin. Today I will be showing you how to make this simple component of spikiness and spikes. I have yet to decide what I'm calling this, probably something along the lines of spike crown or something. It's really cool. You can hang it up as a pair of earrings, leave it hollow, or put something in the center. You can attach it to a chain or cord using a lark's head knot either on one side to hang it as a pendant like this, or you can do it on two sides to hang it like a leather cord or something to have a bracelet centerpiece like that. You just have the other chain here. Or you can do something incredibly fancy with this, like I have done with my phylactery pendant. I have the top section here that I've modified. Now, I don't have the tutorial for this available on YouTube. I'm going to be doing two parts of this once more. I'm going to show you guys how to do this center spike crown, and I'm going to show you how to do a netted, captured, bezeling, covering thing. Basically a beaded bead with an 18mm rondelle. I'll have that video open as well. If you want to learn how to do the chain, I have another tutorial available on YouTube. It's with an earring set, and I'll have a link either down below or in the suggestions, or both, something along those lines. As for how to make the entire pendant, that one is going to be available in PDF form on Craftsy. I will leave a link down below for that as well. For this piece, you will need some delica beads, size 11. I've got it in this green booger color here. Some size 15 seed beads. 6 spikes in 8x5mm. If you don't want to use spikes, you can always replace it with something that is 5mm wide. 6 size 4mm beads. And 12 3mm beads. And of course, a needle and thread of your choosing. Okay, so start off by threading on an alternating pattern of spike beads and 4mm beads until you run out of them all. So you end up with a line like this. Now take your needle and pass back through everything once more so that you form a loop. Now take your tail end and your working thread and tie them in an overhand knot. Once that is done, what you do with the tail is completely up to you. You can dispose of it or just leave it hanging around. I am going to get rid of it because I hate it. What you're going to do next is pass through a 4mm bead that is right next to your knot, so you end up hiding the knot inside the 4mm bead. Then what you're going to do is add on 2 size 15s, 1 delica, and 2 size 15s. And you're going to skip over the spike bead and pass through the next 4mm bead over, forming a kind of covering over the spike bead. It's going to be a bit of a fight in order to get everything positioned properly, but just kind of work with it and wriggle. You're going to repeat that once more. Put on 2 size 15 seed beads, 1 delica, and 2 size 15s. Skip over the next spike bead and pass through the next 4mm bead, forming another frame on top of the spike. Repeat this all the way around until you have completed the round. You have your spikes with the tops being covered by seed beads. Now we're going to do pretty much the same exact thing. I'm going to flip my piece upside down, and we're going to kind of move in the opposite direction that we were, because our intent right now is to cover the other side of the spike beads. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up another 2 size 15 seed beads, 1 delica, 2 size 15s. I'm going to jump over the spike bead and pass through the next 4mm bead, so that you end up with this, a covering on the top and bottom sides of the spike bead, like that. Once more, I'm going to add on 2 size 15s, 1 delica, 2 size 15s. I'm going to jump over the spike and go through the next 4mm bead, just like that. Do the same thing over again until you have completed it all the way around. Then we end up with that. 2 strands covering the top and bottom of the spike beads. Now what we're going to do in order to step up is we're going to move from the 4mm bead we are at. We're going to jump up 2 size 15 beads and the delica in the center, like that. And then we're ready for the next round. What we're going to do is add on 1 delica, 1 3mm, and 1 delica. Then what we're going to do is jump over to the next delica on the spike crown. So that we have a 3mm bead sandwiched in between the spikes. Just like that. Once more, we're going to add on 1 delica, 1 3mm, and 1 delica, and jump over to the next delica on the spike round. Just like that. Continue on until you have completed the rest of the round. Then you end up with something like that. Now, reinforce the round by passing through every single one of these delicas and 3mm in this round to kind of cinch things together nicer. Okay, so once we've done that, I'm going to start from a delica bead that is right on top of the spike bead. I'm going to move around until I am at the delica bead on the opposite side. So I'm going to pass through 2 size 15s that are right next to it. Then I'm going to pass through a 4mm bead that is right in that area. Then finally up 2 size 15 beads and through a delica. This is on the opposite side of the piece, so that I end up on the back side. Now what we're going to do is the same thing again. We're going to add on 1 delica, 1 3mm, and 1 delica. Then we are going to jump to the next delica on the round to put it inside. Like that. Repeat the same thing all the way around until it's complete. Then we end up with this 3mm on both sides of the pendant. Now, this one will also need to be reinforced to cinch everything together. You might even have to go through all of everything twice in order to get to kind of close up properly. So we will do that right now. Go through all of the delicas and the 3mm beads. Alright, and once you've done that, your piece is finished. We're good to go. All you gotta do is put some half-hitch knots in between some beads and cut your thread short. You can even make this piece larger by adding on more spikes and 4mm in your initial base row. But I really wouldn't recommend going very much smaller. I don't think it would work very well. The threads are pretty tight. And yeah, that is it for this spike crown tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you wish to know more about the phylactery pendant, feel free to check out my PDF tutorial in the Craftsy link down below. I thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Lessons with Odin. If there is anything that I need to be trying out or teaching right now, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I will see you next time.